Well, good afternoon and welcome to another Keswick Ripple podcast. My name is Jim. I'm the Director of Guest Services here at America's Keswick, and each week we want to bring you a testimony that we hope encourages your heart and life. One of the most dynamic parts of our ministry is that when a man or woman comes to one of our programs and is radically changed by the gospel of Jesus Christ, they are sent back out to their churches, their communities, and their families, and God uses them in a mighty way. And so I am privileged today and honored to introduce you to Brian Ferguson. Brian is a full-time staff member here. Brian, when did you graduate the colony?
2012.
Okay, so you've been here for quite some time.
Yeah.
And so why don't you start off by telling us just kind of what your life looked like before coming through the colony?
Well, you hear the understandings and the statements about being completely wrecked up and just big mess. I like to explain it in the understanding that I never went to sleep and woke up. I used to pass out and come to. And to have that type of a lifestyle and not really care much about anything was very tiring and wearisome.
Okay. And so how did you hear about the colony, and what finally made you decide to kind of take the step to come?
Well, my dad was serving here at America's Keswick. He moved here from Baltimore, Maryland area, and I helped him move here. And then once he got here, he came to an understanding of Colony of Mercy. Now, me and my dad, we used to run hard together. So he was Christian at this point in time in his life. He had quit drinking and stuff for like 25 years before me. And then when he moved to New Jersey, because he had found some family that he was adopted when he was a baby. So he found his family, and he came to the understanding of America's Keswick, started coming over here to serve, and he got clean and sober through the rooms of AA. But he soon found out that wasn't meaningful enough. There was something still missing, so he started seeking Jesus at that point in time. And when he heard what America's Keswick was, he started serving and being a part of that. And at which point in time, during my second attempt of committing suicide, I went to the emergency room, was on the ward for about a week before they released me. And when I came out, he suggested that I came to the Colony of Mercy.
Awesome. So what are some of the main things during your colony stay that God really pressed on your heart and taught you?
Well, gave me a really good understanding how to enjoy life a little bit, to have fellowship, to experience joy and peace. These are things that I no longer was able to really appreciate and enjoy in any way, shape, or form. Like I said, too many times of the type of people that I was hanging around with and the things that I was getting involved with were very selfish aspects. So you did not have an understanding of what it meant to build relationships. In fact, if anything, it tore them apart. And so,
as I said earlier, you're full-time here at America's Keswick in our housekeeping department. How did God call you to that position?
That's really quite an interesting story, because I was actually in the Colony of Mercy for about 2.5 months, and the path that we walk up from the colony area to the conference area, it's a dirt road and there's tall pine trees around us and everything, and it was just a quiet morning one morning. And it wasn't like an audible voice by any means like that, but God actually told me at that point in time that I was home. I wasn't going anywhere. And I kind of had to ponder that for a little while and wonder, because, I was from Baltimore. That's 2.5 hours south of here, and everything I had ever known. I mean, I've never been this far north as far as living wise, and the only person here was my dad. But at the same time, I was very comfortable with it.
Awesome. And so God has continued to do a work in your life. It's been neat to get to know you over the last 6 years or so as I've been here. But what are some of the ways God has blessed you since coming on staff here?
Well, we don't like to talk about or place emphasis on the monetary values, okay? But at the same time, I can't deny those. I mean, God has blessed me in so many ways with the abilities and the blessings of monetary values that it's just unbelievable. I mean, when I came to the Colony of Mercy, I was 46 years old, and I had lost everything for probably like the third time in my life. So I didn't really see an opportunity for me to regain any of that type of material back again. You know, the house, the car, even the bank account. I had a pretty big debt with the IRS for that fact that I didn't ever see myself getting out from underneath of. But besides all that, okay, the family. When I came to the Colony of Mercy, I had already been married once, no children of my own, but I raised a son from the age of 5 to 15, and I taught him all the worldly ways along with, you know, some good things as far as work ethic and all. But in general, that was destroyed. I lost that. I am now blessed with a family again. I've been married for 5 years. My wife and her daughter, or our daughter, I'm raising her. God has blessed me with the opportunity of that. The relationships that had been destroyed over the decades of the addiction that I was in, with my father, my mother, my stepfather, my older brother, who, I mean, all of these people were just really done with me. They didn't want to have anything to do with me. In fact, this past Christmas, it was a wonderful blessing to have my older brother call me up and say Merry Christmas.
So in addition to your family, and it's always great to see you and just your beautiful family here on property, and but God has called you back to school. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that and how God is using that in your life?
Well, that's been a wonderful adventure. In fact, I'm actually just now finishing it up. Like in May, I should be getting my bachelor's degree in biblical counseling, and it's been an interesting journey because I was never an academic person. I barely squeaked through high school. I did manage to get it done, but it was, 2 years of summer school, and I did not retain a whole lot and did not enjoy anything to do with it. But when God placed it upon my heart to go back to school for biblical counseling, I was really a little nervous. But through that, He has given me an opportunity to be able to communicate with the guys a little bit better, communicate with the guests, communicating with the staff, and again, with my own personal family, I'm able to share Jesus with people that I would have never expected to be able to do that with.
One of the neat things about working here is, Brian works in housekeeping, but you're the men's work supervisor, and so you have interactions with him every day, and so Brian you get to use some of the things you're learning in school, here, as you work with the men. So that's really neat to see. So more than likely, someone who's watching this right now is struggling with addiction. What would you tell them today?
Well, the most important thing I think is to realize that you're where you're at, be willing to admit it, as well as begin to form a personal relationship with your Lord and Savior. As much as America's Keswick has been very vital in my life, it's not about America's Keswick. It's about a personal relationship with Jesus. So, and that can be done at any time and any place. Don't feel that you need to hit your knees and do prayer in a certain kind of way. You can talk to God at any place and any time, on a regular basis. So I strongly urge you to read His Word, take off small bites, meditate on it, communicate with people in your area at your local church to help give you direction.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Brian, for taking some time and sharing a little bit of your story. If this testimony has encouraged your heart and life, we would encourage you to share it, to like it on Facebook, and we will see you next week. Have a happy New Year.
God bless.